So what happened? I've got a property under contract, and what I can tell you about it is it's terrifying. So my name is Levi Webb, and on this channel we're building a real estate portfolio from scratch. And I'm going to tell you a little story. Is my real job is as a coach for ultra endurance athletes. I'm an adventure athlete myself, and I've climbed tall mountains. I've jumped out of airplanes. I downhill mountain bike multiple times a week. I've skied over glaciers. I've done all sorts of terrifying things. And what I can tell you is I feel much more comfortable at the starting line of a 100-mile race than I feel being under contract with a duplex in Texas. Now, I created this channel to share the day by day of what it actually is like to invest in real estate. And this is the story of it. Is I know the numbers. The numbers make sense on this thing. I know. I've talked ad nauseum with realtors and whatnot. I've put in dozens of offers, and logically, I know this is probably the way to go, right? This has actually been my plan, my investing plan for years now. But now having a house under contract, the anxiety level is like here. But that might just, I think it's probably jitters, right? I get the same jitters when I've got a big race, right? When I've got a 100-mile race and it starts at midnight or something, I can't sleep. And at the starting line, I just pace and drink coffee. It's those same jitters. I anticipate that anxiety will be high for a little bit. After it closes, anxiety will come down. After there's tenants in the units, it'll come down again. But right now, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable finally getting the deal that I've been looking for, which is weird to say. I've been doing the numbers, poring over the numbers, finally get the deal that works with my numbers, and now I'm like, oh no, now what? So let's talk about this deal, because it didn't actually come where I thought it was going to come from. So I've been following the Michael Zuber strategy. He seems to know what he's talking about, and it all makes sense, right? So I've gone to a market where it's a real buyer's market right now. There are a few houses on the market that cash flow, and I'm putting in offers that only cash flow 6% yield or better. All right. And so most of these houses that fit my criteria, they're not listed at a cash flow of 6% yield. Most of them, I need at least a 15 to 20% discount off of list price. And so I've been putting in offers at 20% off of list price for most of these houses. Not necessarily 20%, it's whatever makes the cash on cash return 6% or better. And so these houses have been on the market for 90 days, and I call up and I make an offer, and they say no, or I write up a contract with an offer and they counter with something that still doesn't work, and then we go back and forth and back and forth. There's one house, actually the second one, that I put an offer on. I revisited it 3 weeks later, and we got so close, so close. It was going to be a seller finance deal, 5% interest rate. That's where we kind of got hung up. I said 5%. They said 5% for the first year, 6% for the second year, 7% for the third year. Which didn't really work for me, but I had a feeling they were going to come around to my side. And then out of nowhere, while I'm negotiating with this other seller, on the MLS pops a duplex that's in better shape, that offers the 6% yield that I'm looking for at list price. There's been other opportunities that have popped up on the duplex in my search, that have popped up on the MLS, not the duplex. Opportunities that have popped up on the MLS during my search, that almost meet that criteria. There's been a couple of quadplexes. One of them was a 5% cash on cash at list price, pretty good condition, fully occupied. I've heard mixed reviews on having occupied places. Recently, another quadplex popped up that cash flowed at list price at about 2%. And those ones were snatched up immediately, right? I'm not going to get into those battles. I'm not going to go in with other investors and bid away all of my margin. I'm only going to offer what makes sense to me. 2 days later, after this other quadplex that I wasn't really interested in because it was in an HOA, after there's two of them, they popped up on the MLS, got snatched up immediately. The same day, this duplex shows up on the MLS with a higher cash on cash return than those quadplexes, and it just sits there. I didn't notice it until it had been listed for 4 days. I immediately put in an offer at 5% below list price, even though it hit my numbers at list price. I offered 5% below because it doesn't hurt to ask, which was not usually what I'm doing. I'm usually offering 20% below on houses that have been listed for 90 days. This one was there for 4 days. I didn't want it to get snatched up because it already hit my numbers. Asked for 5%. They countered at 2.5% below list price. And now we're under contract. I've been in a flurry over the last couple hours trying to contact lenders, sending in my earnest money, lining up the inspections, and criticize me for this if you will, but I'm going to fly to Lubbock, Texas, where this duplex is, for the first time in the option period. I have 10 days where I can quit this thing for any reason. And in those 10 days, I need to get to Lubbock, Texas. I need to go look at it. I'm going to see the community. I've never been to Lubbock, Texas. I need to see the community, make sure this is a world that I want to own real estate in. It's going to be a cultural difference for me. I'm okay with that. So here I am, terrified, booking plane tickets to fly to Lubbock. So if you are a first-time investor, here's some things that I want you to learn from this. It's going to be scary. I knew this going in, but knowing it and feeling it are two different things. A lot of people have talked about taking risks. This is it. This is what taking risks feel like, right? If you want to get ahead, you got to take some risks. You got to put yourself out there. It's going to be uncomfortable. Do I like it being uncomfortable? No, I do not. I would much rather just keep on coasting. But I do know logically, if I put in the work now, it's going to pay dividends down in the future. So, wish me luck. If you're in Lubbock, you want to hang out, comment on the video. I will come and see you when I'm in Lubbock. Maybe, if you're not a total creep that just comments on videos on the internet. Wish me luck. For everybody that has helped me to get to this point, thank you. I'm not to the finish line yet. So keep me on track, please. Keep me on track. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And here's hoping I wasn't flipping you off. I was crossing my fingers. Here's hoping that that this deal closes without hassle.